All right, everybody, you know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. Bam! Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we thank God for all those of you who are joining us here on the broadcast this morning. This is our Saturday morning show, the Saturday Sports Update, brought to you here by Allen Vigil Ford and Lincoln, and we are broadcasting to you on multiple platforms, including the legendary WIGO Pacesetter 1570 on the AM dial. Also, you can find them at www.wigo1570.com. You also can, of course, watch us on multiple platforms, including Roku. We're on the Phoenix Entertainment Group channel, so if you want to watch us on the big screen, you can do that. And we always encourage those of you who are watching us on YouTube, subscribe, and subscribe. You know how to do it. We appreciate each and every one of you for doing that. And we're Real Talk Sports, the number 7 on all platforms. So make sure to tune in and check us out there. Well, today we're going to bring on a special guest. It's a gentleman that has been on our show on many occasions. We're bringing him out back today because we just want to bring him back out. He's a great guy. He does something called the Student Athlete Playbook. And we're going to bring on the one and only Mr. Barry Brown is back in the building. Sir, welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Minister Jonathan Simmons.
What's up, Barry Brown, sir? How you doing, sir?
Yes, sir. Doing wonderful, man. Thank you for having me on. It's been a minute, but I'm always happy when you call, when we talk. And yes, sir. How you doing today?
Hey, man, no complaints. You can see behind me here, I'm in the spot of our sponsor for high school football, title sponsor, Allen Vigil Ford, which I am, in fact, an employee here as well. So we're doing some multitasking today. But like I said, we thank God that we are gainfully employed and that Mr. Vigil has been a really a great booster of our program, since I've come back to work to him. And this will be year number 6, Barry. I can't believe it. I'll be back here officially 6 years on September the 18th. Yeah, it's just great to be a part of that. And the other thing that's kind of cool is that I just passed another anniversary, one that unfortunately is tied to a one of the great tragedies in our country. It makes 33 years. It was September 11th, 1991, that the then young minister stepped up behind what my old pastor used to call that sacred desk, the pulpit, for the first time officially, and preached my very first sermon, September 11th, 1991. Can't believe it's been 33 years.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Well,
so
ever since I met you, you've been an outstanding gentleman. I'm not surprised at the success you've had with your endeavors, and hey man, all praises to God, man. Yeah, definitely. Prayers out to the families of the men and women that lost their lives in 9/11, 2001. 2011. And so just a sad time. And every time 9/11 comes around, Minister, I think about, you think about where you are when these
Right.
tragedies happen, and you have a great memory attached to it, but also, so many people have that moment where they, man, I was going here, I was there, and my mom she asked me where I was,
Right.
and I was actually on my way down to City Hall in the city of Atlanta for a press conference. It was a press conference taking place that day,
Wow.
and I remember that because it was 9/11. So man, salute to you on your anniversary, and definitely prayers go out to all of the families that lost a loved one on that day.
I'm flashing right there, Barry. You can see it over to your, I guess it's to your
Yes,
left. I got you
yes,
there,
sir.
student athlete playbook. There it is, guys. And we're going to be working with Barry throughout this year to make sure that we can get this book into the hands of as many people as possible, because it is really a template on, really what you can do as a student athlete and even as a mentor to a student athlete, some of those best practices, because we all know that we're in business or in ministry, whatever you're in, best practice is always very, very critical. So we're going to make sure to do that. Well, Barry, speaking of student athlete, it is, it's football time in the state of Georgia. So,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
so we got a lot going on, and we have, as we do, each and every week, we focus on the high school football scores from the weekend. I'm trying to see if I can get a little theme music for this. I've been trying to work on a little background music.
That's
I'm trying to
right.
get a little theme music for us here. So we can go ahead and make it do what it do here in the background. I got to get it down low, or else the radio station, we can't hear you. It's too loud. All right, there we go. Little background music for us here. Let's get some scores. First, we're going to go into Clayton County, and it
Oh
was
man.
for most of the Clayton County schools, Barry, as you know, being a graduate from the last
That's
Clayton
right.
County school to win a state championship, the Morrow Mustangs. Let's take a look at some of the scores here, going to our scoreboard. Now, guys, if you want to, you can go to realtalksports.net. We actually have on our high school football page an active scoreboard for Clayton County, DeKalb County, and also for Henry County. Let's take a look. First of all, North Clayton Eagles, one of the bright spots, Barry, for the Clayton County. They whomped another Clayton County school, Monday Mill,
Yes, they
49-6. And the
Yes,
Eagles
they
now, that's
did.
their fourth win this season. Speaking of whomping, we were at this game, Barry, and it was a terrible thing to see. Forest Park Panthers shut out by a legendary team on the south side. The Creekside Seminoles rolled into Clayton County and beat the Panthers by a staggering 65-0. It's just not a
Well,
good
well,
look.
well, let me say something. First, shout out to North Clayton over there
Yes,
with
sir.
Coach Burnett, Cap Burnett over there at North Clayton. Big win over Monday's Mill, and then Creekside. Let me just say, hey, Creekside has a great program over there. They played for the state championship last year down at Mercedes-Benz, and they started the season off rough. Jonathan, hey, when you start talking about playing DeSoto High School over there in Texas, which is a nationally ranked program, and then you playing the number one team, one of the number one teams in their division, out of Greenville, South Carolina. That's West Side. Know a little bit about Greenville, going to Presbyterian College up there in Clinton, South Carolina, which is right down the road from Greenville. So shout out to West Side, man, and Creekside. I commend them for playing a national schedule, and now they're back at home in the state of Georgia. And trust me, after playing those tough teams from out of state, they're ready to get back into some Georgia football. And look for Creekside to go on a major run, Coach. They would probably not lose a game in the state of Georgia this season. So look for them to be right back in the state playoffs, going all well. I don't know if they're going to win the state title, but I believe they will not lose another game in the state of Georgia this season until they get to the playoffs. If they lose, then.
Well, Mr. Barry Brown giving us some breaking news there. He's thinking that Creekside may not lose the game. Well, I tell you, they looked very, very good last night. I was, like you said, I was. It wasn't last night. I should say Thursday. I'm just amazed that the score was such a beatdown. I mean, I wasn't. I mean, I was expecting them to, to win the game, but a colossal beatdown. Unfortunately, and Forest Park has really struggled, Barry. As you know, they have really struggled to, be able to keep a competitive team on the field, and it's just been tough. And we feel bad for them. Because again, this is a legendary program. Matter of fact, the field that they often play on, Terra Stadium, is also codenamed Hines Ward Field. And for the people who don't know, Hines Ward matriculated right down the road at Forest Park. And so, we hope that they'll be able to get that back together sooner rather than later. Another bright spot in the county is the Mount Zion Bulldogs, a shocker, going on the road and taking on a Stevenson Jaguar team, which we've had on the last couple of years, and upset them on the road 20-14. How about the Mount Zion Bulldogs trying to get their program back on track, Barry?
Hey, Coach, let me tell you something. Clayton County has, as you just mentioned, we got a rich history in football out here in Clayton County. And, man, Mount Zion sitting at 2-2, position well to make a run for the playoffs. And I hope they do that over there. So, hey, go Mount Zion Bulldogs. Got a lot of friends that graduated from over there. So, hey, we want the Mount Zion Bulldogs, just like every other Clayton County school, to do well in their particular region. Absolutely.
No doubt. Let's get just a few more scores here as we get ready to take a break in just a few minutes here. Let's go back to the scoreboard and take a look here. And Riverdale Raiders, unfortunately, in another clash between DeKalb County and Clayton County, they get knocked off 32-16 on the road. But another bright spot, I believe they're the only undefeated team in the county. The Drew Titans whitewash Midtown on the road 19-0. Barry, we got a couple of teams that are definitely showing the flag.
Absolutely. Hey, Drew, sitting at 4-0, they're primed to make a run at the playoffs, and they're primed to be the pride of Clayton County this season as well. So I'm very happy to hear about Drew doing well over there. When I saw that 4-0 record and checked some of those scores, I said, okay, Drew has something cooking this season. So we're gonna keep an eye on Drew this school year. And hey, listen, with the history over there at Drew, when we start talking about just young people doing great things over there, I always think about Miss Townsend making a run this season and winning the doubles championship this season.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, shout out to principal, the former principal over there, Principal Townsend, and his daughter Taylor Townsend doing her thing in pro tennis during this time. Yes, sir.
Definitely congrats. Yes, sir.
Minister, I want to shout out to he's the head coach over there at Forest Park. He is a friend. He's a product of Clayton County as well, going to Forest Park, and then went on to start at the University of Georgia, Corey Johnson. So, hey, Coach Johnson, we love you, brother. We're standing behind you. We know it's a tough job over there at Forest Park. Hey, keep your head up. Keep that staff encouraged, man, and y'all keep working over there at Forest Park.
Yeah, definitely. It's always tough to rebuild a program, but kudos to Coach Johnson for doing what he has to do. All right, let's go over to DeKalb County. Again, some more surprises, some new teams making a move, and some other teams struggling a little bit. First of all, let's take a look at Cedar Grove, a team that just a couple of years ago was in the state championship, struggling a little bit this year, losing to the Heath Hawks 23-18 on the road. The Cross Keys Indians, they end up losing to Mount Bethel 20-13. Chambly against Decatur. Now, there's another surprise team, the Decatur Bulldogs, rolling. They knocked off Stevenson last week and then crushed Chambly Charter School 42-7. So keep your eye on the Decatur Bulldogs. Tri-City sneaks by Dunwoody 21-20 in a thriller as they went on the road and knocked off a Dunwoody. St. Pius, they always have an outstanding program, crushed Druid Hills 55-13. And MLK, which we know we have Coach Carter is back in the building. They lose a squeaker to Maynard Jackson 28-27 at home. So a tough one there for those guys there. And that's it. Oh, one last game we got to get on to, definitely. One of my teammates here at Allen Vigil Ford, his son is a star right down the road in McDonough in Henry County. And I'm talking about the Ola. Let's see here. Let's grab their score if I can really quickly. As the Ola Mustangs, also undefeated, roll over Eagles Landing Eagles 41-7. And young Mr. Cade Wade, he has been a stud. He is what we call an athlete because he plays safety and running back. Right. Had a big game last night, over 100 yards. Also had a pick six to help lead his Mustangs to a 41-7 victory. Yes, sir.
Yeah. That when Ola first started, I had a good friend that was a principal over there. Shout out to Mr. Pittman over there. They used to be at Ola High School, and when I saw those colors and I saw that they were going to be the Mustangs as well. So, I felt some kind of way about that coming from Morrow as a Morrow Mustang. But that's cool. Imitation is the best form of flattery, Mr. Simmons. So shout out to the older Mustangs, man. And hey, keep marching forward by far.
No doubt. Like I said, again, they are a team to watch, and we expect them to make a big move in the district and also make a big move in terms of being able to, kind of move along into the state playoffs. So big shout out to Ola High School as they win big 41-7 at home. Dutchtown Bulldogs, speaking of Clayton County, they pull off a squeaker going down to Lovejoy and winning 21-20 over the Lovejoy Wildcats. The Wildcats struggling a little bit this year.
Yeah. Lovejoy, traditionally puts a good product on the field. Also, Dutchtown had some good teams here recently. Most definitely when you start talking about DJ Johnson, linebacker up there in East Carolina now, had a great, strong all-state season 2 seasons ago down at Dutchtown. And then, of course, their history with, the Dominator over that went to Alabama, now with the Houston Texans. So, Dutchtown has a history as well, and that was a good game. But look for Lovejoy to win some more games as they march toward and make a playoff run. They have a strong program over there. Some good kids, good size, good speed. So don't be surprised if we sit back and look at Lovejoy here at the end of the season, sitting good, going into the playoffs.
No doubt, man. We look forward to lots of great things down here in the South Side. Of course, everybody knows South Fulton has some great teams, including Langston Hughes, a team that has been dominant these last couple of years. Banneker, also a team that has been decent as well. So, man, the South Side, that's why we try to cover them and give them as much love as we can. Speaking of love, we're going to give some love to our sponsors here. We're going to take a break. You listen to the Real Talk Sports Show and watching on all platforms on Real Talk Sports, the number 7. We'll be right back.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil.
Hey, sports fans, tune in for live high school football Fridays, 7:30 p.m. on RealTalkSports.net. Check out your favorite Metro Atlanta teams as they do battle on the gridiron. It's your high school game of the week, live streaming free Friday nights on RealTalkSports.net. For more sports coverage and great sports talk, catch the Real Talk Sports Show Tuesdays, 8 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch. Brought to you by Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, a business giving back to their community. Give them a call at 678-364-3979 or check them out online at allenvigilford.net. All right, guys, we're back here with the Saturday Sports Update version of the Real Talk Sports Show. And right next to me is the man himself, Mr. Barry Brown from the Student Athlete Playbook. And see, this is beautiful. He has to, we have the little banners underneath. So I got to kind of cut it down a little bit. So he's got just the letters there, TSAAP. So just so you guys know, that means the Student Athlete Playbook. Those of you who are watching us and saying, what is that? That is. Well, Barry, lots of stuff still going on in the world of sports here in Atlanta. And of course, baseball is in the home stretch. The Atlanta Braves struggling, trying to find some way to get back into postseason after, really a blizzard of injuries to this Braves team, including last year's consensus MVP. What do you think about the Braves? They pull off a win last night at home against the Dodgers 6-2 to keep themselves in the mix for postseason.
Well, Jonathan, I'm a huge baseball fan, been an Atlanta Braves fan. I go all the way back to Dale Murphy and Bob Horner days.
Wow.
And one of my favorite baseball players of all time is Tom Glavine. So when you start talking about the Braves, man, I'm real serious about the Braves. So this year, yeah, you just said it. I mean, a ton of injuries. I don't even know how they're in the position to even make the playoffs right now. But hey, hopefully they do. The starting pitching has been great all season long. That's the only reason they're in this position has been the pitching. And so hopefully they make a run down here. They scored like 12 runs the other day. I was encouraged by that. And I think the next game they only scored like 2 runs. So they've been up and down scoring runs all season. So hey, when you have the last year's MVP out in Acuna Jr., it's going to be a struggle. Then you have injuries to Riley. Oh man, Albies has been out the majority of the season. It's just been a tough season. Harris has been out for a significant amount of time. He's back now. It's just been rough. So Atlanta Braves, do what you can with what you have, and everybody just play their position down the stretch here, and let's finish off this regular season the best way we can, and hopefully they make a run to the playoffs and get one of those last wild card spots. That's all we can hope for at the moment.
Yes, right now they find themselves, interestingly enough, 1 game behind their arch rival, the Mets, for that final spot.
Exactly.
And the thing that's interesting about this is that you have like you said, you talk about the starting pitching. You have a young guy, Spencer Swellenbach, a guy who a lot of people weren't sure how much he was going to contribute to the Braves this year. He's been lights out, and last night was no different. 6 innings pitched. He only gave up 4 hits, had 6 strikeouts, and then the bullpen came in. Johnson, Jimenez, and Iglesias put together a 3 strikeout performance in 3 innings. The 3 of them combined gave up no hits. So kudos to the Bravos, and also kudos to Alex Anthopoulos, a guy who, from time to time people get sideways on, especially since, he made the big trade, Olsen, for, the longtime Brave Freddie Freeman. But the realities are this guy has been a magician in terms of his ability to get players in and out. And what better example of that is a guy that now in his second stint with the Braves, Jorge Soler, last night, 2 for 3, 2 RBIs and the big fly to help them win this game. And a guy I've never heard of in my life, Gio Urshela, playing third base instead of Austin Riley. Guy does what? Gets up, hits a 2-run homer. Who knew? Who knew?
Hey, baseball is a magical game. That's why it's America's pastime. It's hey, you can have a cat come out of nowhere like Soler did during our championship run, and and win MVP. So hey, anything can happen. That's why I'm still encouraged about down the stretch that if we can have a few big games and get on a roll here, anything can happen. So hey, as we always say, go Braves, baby, go Braves.
Go Braves, Brave Country in full effect. And last but not least, I know everybody talks about, because of the big year he's having so far for the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani being, quote unquote, the front runner for MVP. But to me, how on earth can you overlook the year that Marcell Ozuna has had for this Braves team? Even though he didn't knock in a run last night, 3 for 4, he has been the glue in this Braves lineup. And to me, if you talk about most valuable player, he should definitely be in the mix, if not selected for that grand honor. To me, I'm just saying.
Well, when you start talking about Triple Crown winners, he's sitting right here at the precipice of winning a Triple Crown.
Come on now.
So you just look back to last season, look back the year before that, and you start talking about a guy people were saying, "Hey, get Ozuna out of here," with
right?
Field problems and things. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Minister. When that was happening, I was saying, man, this guy must be one heck of a locker room guy.
Right.
But the Braves never talked about trading him.
No.
They still got him the whole time, and now they're reaping the benefits of that. So they knew his character. They knew what was going on with him behind the scenes, obviously. and they stuck with this guy, and he's and they're receiving the dividends on that right now.
Well, the realities are, if truth be told, it came out that his wife's a wild woman. I mean,
I remember that. Yeah, I wasn't gonna speak on that. Yeah, I wasn't gonna speak on that.
They said the missus was one that swung on him a couple of times, and she herself had been arrested due to a domestic violence situation. And again, guys, I don't want anybody. The minister of anybody is definitely wants to be pro-family. I am pro-family, so I don't want to make a joke out of the domestic situation. But a lot of times, what happens is that when we don't look at both sides of the coin, we have a tendency to think it's just, a guy. And again, I'm not indicating any man should put his hand on a woman at any cost. But I mean, reports had that, she was picking up things to really try to hurt the man. So at the end of the day, you have to defend yourself and, basically try to get out of Dodge if you can. So fellas,
yes,
don't put your hand on anybody. Just run out, and call another day. But yeah, Bravo's still in the mix, and Ozuna should definitely be considered for, some postseason honors. Well,
absolutely.
we're gonna shift gears really quickly because we're about to wrap this up here. Of course, Monday night, the Falcons are heading down to Philadelphia to play the Eagles after an extremely disappointing showing on Sunday as they got shut down by the Pittsburgh Steelers 18-10. And to me, it was an embarrassment overall to some degree to Atlanta fan base, as we have all over social media videos and photos of the Steelers looking like that back at home in Pittsburgh. Just a poor showing. So anyway, Barry, what do you think the Falcons need to do to right the ship? I know it's early, but yet it's not, because you know how it is. The track record of teams being 0-2 getting to the postseason is about 1 in a million. So what do you think the Falcons need to do to right the ship?
Well, here it is, Minister Simmons. I'm a longtime Falcons fan as well. I go back to my childhood with Steve Barkowski, William Andrews, Mike Ken, and all those guys. So I'm a real Falcons fan. Like you, very disappointed in the last Sunday in the opening game against the Steelers. Hey, the Steelers travel. Hey, their fan base is one of the best fan bases in all of sports. So hey, shout out to the Pittsburgh fans for standing up and showing out, and we helped them. Bottom line. So we put a product on the field that obviously wasn't ready offensively. I felt very good about the defense. Anytime you can hold a team to six field goals, you think you're gonna win the game. So, so the Falcons have a lot of work to do on the offensive side. Philly is a very tough place to play. My brother lives up there in Philly. So hey, whatever happens up there, I just hope we play better than we did this past Sunday offensively. And I hope that our defense stands up. The Grady Jarretts of the world, Bates, Simmons in that backside of the defense. We need to stand up, and our offense has to find a way to score points. There's no doubt about it. Kirk Cousins has the contract. Everybody knows about that. He has to step up and play. It looked like he was rusty. It looked like he hadn't played. And he's a non-mobile quarterback anyway. So I don't know what the strategy was in that first game, but it was bad. The results were bad. So now I hope our new offensive coordinator, they got in the lab this week. I hope Cousins has shaken off the cobwebs and the rust, and they need to come out this Monday night, this upcoming Monday night. Cousins has to get the ball into the hands of the playmakers in the backfield and down the field, and let's go win a game. That's it. Those are my thoughts, Minister.
Well, I think that sums it up pretty good. I mean, I had a chance last night to watch Kirk Cousins. He does a breakdown every week focusing on quarterbacks. And the interesting thing was he gave me a really different perspective. He's, a lot of people obviously are just saying, a lot of people talk about the OC, they talk about the game plan, but Kirk actually broke down, and the game plan actually was pretty good. The problem is that the Falcons as a team did not execute. Kirk didn't execute because he missed a lot of reads. The other players didn't execute. They had, as a matter of fact, one of the Falcons announcers talked about this. I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a blank. Former quarterback of the Falcons. Lord have mercy. Anyway, he talked about the fact that the receivers broke off their routes incorrectly. So basically, that's why I tagged it last week, a Falcons fiasco. I mean, the team just did not play well. And the idea, again, I still can't get this. Why you are trying to have Kyle Pitts chipping down on these edge rushers? You didn't bring him here for that. You brought him here to catch passes. You brought Charlie Warner over here to do that. So I'm not sure about that. And the other thing too is, again, talk about misuse of personnel. Why would you have Matthew Judon dropping back into coverage? You didn't bring him here for that. So I think if the Falcons just get back to letting the players do what they do, like Raheem Morris always says, hey, he wants to put the player in the best position to succeed. Well, let's go ahead and see that. That's what I want to see.
Yes, sir. So, hey, you see, that's the part that people get upset about, Jonathan, what you just said. Judon dropping back into coverage. That's what they did to Vic Beasley right after he won the sack title the year before when we had the Super Bowl run.
Well, Barry, let me take a break
season,
really quickly. So
go ahead.
we actually are on the air live on the legendary WIGO Pace to the 1570.
Oh,
So we
yes,
know we
sir.
have to get off the air. So we thank you for
Okay,
tuning in
yes,
to
sir.
us, and we'll see you guys next week. All right, for those of you
Absolutely.
watching on social media, let's keep it going right here. We'll give you a little bonus time, extra 5 minutes here. Now, you were saying, Barry, about the idea of someone being misplayed, and you brought back the Vic Beasley situation back when he was here.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, that's what reminded people of that kind of stuff. When you say, oh, new Falcons regime, new quarterback, and then they play the same way. Yeah, that's very frustrating to the fan base by far. Very frustrating. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm just saying you bring these guys in and you talk about these guys being generational players. You talk about you want a guy to have double-digit sacks, and yet you put him in a position where he's dropping back into coverage, and it's just a bizarre thing. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Now speaking of Falcons, we do want to give a big shout out to those who did play well, and one of them is the face of the Falcons. Grady Jarrett looked like he was Grady Jarrett from 3-4 years ago. I mean,
all his rust was knocked off.
Knocked off, yes, sir.
He was ready. Now Grady Jarrett was ready. Yeah. And I think Simmons played for that short time of training camp he had. I think Simmons played very well too. Definitely
that's my cousin. My cousin.
That's right. That's right.
I'm just saying.
so yeah, definitely some highlights out there by far. And I listen, we have pieces, Mr. Simmons. We have pieces. And
just saying,
we have a lot of high draft picks on that team, and they have to play. This is called professional football. They get paid a lot of money to come out here and play. And the fan base, all we're asking is for them to come out and play. And then people like us that get a chance to speak about it on air or what have you. Then we're gonna point out the good things. And I'm glad you did that, because I always like to end on a positive note. So I'm gonna say this. Kirk Cousins, the offensive line, we know as a former player at the collegiate level, we win in the trenches. Every game is won in the trenches, if you believe it or not. So if they cannot protect Kirk Cousins, we are essentially in a terrible situation because he's a non-mobile quarterback. So if they cannot protect him and he's missing reads on top of that, this could be a long season. But again, we're going to finish on a positive note. Dust has been knocked off this week. Everybody's going to come in, refocus, re-energize, and we're going to go up to Philly and put on a good showing. I'm gonna leave on that note.
Hey, no doubt. I think that they have a good opportunity to get a win on the road. We've seen that Jalen Hurts is not really been the same guy since the first half of last season. He's been turning the ball over, which he had 2 bad picks last week. Now, will that continue? Probably not. But at the end of the day, the Falcons do have the personnel to be able to stay on the field with this team. They have the speed to be able to contain him. We saw last week with Justin Fields. Justin Fields only had really one big run for them. Defensively, it's really to try to avoid the big play at the wrong time. And because we look back at that game, the defense was stout except for the one big play at the wrong time. That big, to me, a partial turning point in that game, that big play to George Pickens that allowed them to kick a field goal at the end of the half. Because, oh, brother, it's still up, but it's a momentum thing. They would have went into the locker room 10-6 after having that nice drive and be able to recover from a turnover. And then especially when they came out in the second half, stopping Philadelphia and getting the ball back, who knows? That could have been a completely different situation. So, again, for the defense, just like last year, they were stout, but we need them to make the big play at the right time to try to keep the momentum going on. And for offense, it's real easy, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you need to have the players do what they do best. This is a team, the offensive line, I keep telling people, I talk about how good the offensive line is. It's a good run blocking offensive line. Yes. It's really at best average in terms of pass blocking. That's not what they do. And everybody keeps getting on McGarry and saying the guy's a bum. No, you're asking. I mean, they do. They say the guy is, he's incompetent. It's not that. You're asking the guy to be strong in an area where he's not. They knew when they drafted him, he was a punishing run blocker, but he's not a good pass blocker. His footwork is just not there. His agility, especially to pick out when they do the wide rushes, his ability to drop back agility-wise is not that good. So I'm thinking to myself, why on earth would you keep putting the guy in that position? I don't get it.
Right. Right. I think to speak to that, I am one of those people that said when they drafted him in the first round, I was like, hey, man, why are you drafting this guy that's limited? I am one of those people. I will tell you. Now, again, this is in any field of business, though, Minister Simmons. If he is weak and you drafted him or you hired that person and you know their weaknesses, then, like you just said, what are you working on to either improve upon his weaknesses and make him stronger in those things that he's weak in, or, like you just said, put him in the best positions to say, hey, you know what? When we pass him, then we know we have to have some help on that side for him with the chip blocks, like you mentioned earlier, or some kind of blocking pattern that allows him to be better at pass blocking. And then if his strength is run blocking, then, hey, let's just definitely run the ball to his side and keep it moving. So the strategies and the schemes are very important. And I'm just going to go back to my original statement with, hey, I don't know if he was worth a first round draft pick that they gave, that they drafted him as. I don't know. And again, if he's going to continue to struggle at pass blocking, then we definitely have to look at some changes.
Yes, at the end of the day, this team is really going to have to use what they have. Another thing that I will say before we wrap it up here is the other thing you have to do is utilize what you have. Tyler Algiers is a guy. Now, a lot of people compare the situation to the San Diego situation almost 10, 15 years ago when they had LaDainian Tomlinson and Michael the Burner Turner, where we eventually got Turner, and you saw what his study was when he was able to get the carries. Now, I know everybody keeps talking about Bijan being a generational back, but I don't see him to be LaDainian Tomlinson. Not yet. Okay.
No, not yet. No, sir. That's what you're talking about, a Hall of Famer, brother. I don't know about that one. Yeah, I agree with you.
And for me to have a back that is one of the league leaders in yards after contact, which is critical when sometimes your offensive line is, I'm giving Algiers the ball. 3 carries for 21 yards, 7 yards a carry. I'm like, okay, he should have got more touches. I know everybody's fixated on Bijan Robinson, fixated on Kyle Pitts and on Drake London, which is okay because these guys are certainly, especially on paper. No, I shouldn't say on paper. I mean, they've all proven themselves to be, outstanding performers in the league. But to me, you have a guy in Algiers. Oh, by the way, when he came here, he originally set the rookie record of rushing for 1,000 yards when he got here. So I'm thinking to myself, did the guy is he not playing well? The answer is no. He still was very capable last year with limited touches. So to me, this team, in order for them to do well, it has to be, for lack of a better term, Matt Ryan 2.0. If you remember when they got Ryan back in 2008, they set up a team that was play action heavy. They got themselves a stud running back in terms of Michael Burner Turner. And then Matt, as much as, he had some, inefficiencies later on in his career, you got to go back and look, man, them first 4 or 5 years when he was, the young stud, remember his nickname was Matty Ice.
Hey, that team you specifically speaking about, well, that was just coaching 101 in the form of using what you have and putting your position. When they say they want to put their team in the best position to win, that's a great example of it. Same way as we did when we made the run to the Super Bowl in 2016. You maximize what you had and you play to your strengths. So now we're going to have to find out what our strengths are with this 2024-25 team and see what we can do. That's what I'm hoping is happening up there. I'll leave you with this question. It's very interesting to me that all these coaches in these organizations, specifically these coaches that get paid millions of dollars to do this all day, every day. And it's very strange to me how it seems like the general public that works other jobs that don't come close to making any kind of money close to these guys.
Joe Citizen
seem to have better schemes and strategies than the people that focus on it all day, every day. It's very interesting when that happens, Minister. And what's your thoughts on that? Because I find it amazing.
Well, I think it lends me on 2 thoughts, which neither one of them are encouraging for the sports fan. One, that in fact, that someone other than the coaches higher up in the food chain gives some dictation to what is put on the field. And number 2, that some of the games have been predetermined due to outside forces, aka betting and other things, because it doesn't make sense to me, sir. When things don't make sense, I'm like, okay, well then why don't they make sense?
Well, you hit on two major points right there. We know for sure one of those things is happening.
Right.
That hey, the man cutting the checks is gonna absolutely have some say so, no questions.
Right.
The person, the man, woman, person, definitely has the opportunity to say something, no doubt about it.
Right.
That's only right. Now the other part, I do find that very interesting too, that how you can be sponsored by these organizations and think that nothing else is happening. Let me put it that way. So,
right.
That's a great. You brought up a great point. Those are two major factors.
All right, and you can see we have a Steelers fan that had hopped up here. He's just saying, "Hey, what's up, Super Steelers game?" And I know he's still feeling himself after that big win here in Atlanta last week. So big shout out to him tuning in on YouTube. Appreciate you so much for doing so. Yeah, man, at the end of the day, it's just, and the reason why I mentioned that, and I'm gonna talk about this next week, and we might get a little round table, get into this, but I'm wondering, is Arthur Blank becoming Jerry Jones?
Oof. Well, to a certain degree, you can say that. I can see why anybody would say that. Well, to this, let me say this to that. Everybody, even the people that that were hyped up about Kirk Cousins being here, are scratching their heads right now, because you're talking about $180 million contract with $100 million guaranteed this season and next season, and then you get a performance like that. Everybody is saying, "Hey," like the Steelers fan that just commented. Everybody's saying, "Hey, what's up?
What's up?"
That's the reality.
And the reason why I asked this is because of this. If I look specifically just only at the quarterback situation, and like I say again, we'll get ready to wrap it up. If we look at the quarterback situation, in the last 3 years or 4 years, Arthur Blank first basically made his GM go after the young man at Cleveland. I don't know why my mind is just kind of fuzzy right now. Deshaun Watson.
Yes,
now, I understand Watson was a ball boy for the Falcons. I understand he was a stud up here at Gainesville. Mm-hmm. I get all of that stuff. But clearly, the guy had some off-the-field issues. Clearly. Whether people are misconstruing the situation or not, when you get numbers in excess of 60, that's a lot of right. Yeah. There's a lot of people making errors or scamming. So I'm just saying. And he basically fried Arthur Smith's plan before it even got started, because as much as Arthur Smith was kind of a snarky guy when he was here, his ability to set up a run offense actually was pretty good. And the game plan was originally was to have Matt Ryan be here, draft potentially one of these younger quarterbacks. And now, of course, none of them panned out that well. But the idea was, okay, we have Matt Ryan. We'll bring in a quarterback like the young man that we got rid of, Desmond Ritter. Mm-hmm. Right. To help him learn how to run an offense under a quarterback who is a professional, who would have basically said, look, I want to retire as a Falcon. Let me kind of ease this kid in here. But in the interim, still have the ability, as we saw when he was here, a Kyle Pitts that he could throw to. And imagine now if Matt, let's just fast forward to next year. Imagine if Matt was still here when he had Algiers. So now you got Algiers and Pitt. Now I know Pitt was a banged up, but now you have a situation where you have a guy that is familiar with the play action fake, how to run that offense. And who knows now, Arthur Smith, if that was the case, probably still be here. I'm just saying.
Well, I like the way you broke that down. I'm gonna give a slightly alternate version as we close up. Just tell me when we need.
We like alternate versions. We like that. We do. That's good on Marvel Comics. Come on, alternate universe.
Exactly. Alternate universes out here.
Yes, sir.
Matt Ryan, definitely Hall of Famer, will be a first ballot Hall of Famer, best quarterback in Atlanta Falcons history, hands down. But there's a however to that because of the way it was handled, like you just described.
Right.
So the alternate version of that, we missed the opportunity when we did not draft. Oh my gosh, I just drew a blank. Pittsburgh quarterback, Fields. Justin
Fields, right?
Fields.
Yep.
When we did not draft Justin Fields, we chose to draft Pitts. Now, the big question I've been hearing in the barbershops and out in the streets, Minister Simmons, is if we drafted this guy so high and he's supposed to be this amazing physical talent, why don't we use him more? It's amazing to me that we drafted him at so high. However, we don't use him, because by this time we would have handed the keys to Justin Fields. If we would have drafted him in that same position, this would be Justin Fields' team at this time, and he may have developed much better here than he did in Chicago. That's how I look at it. So that's my alternate version of the story. Instead of drafting Pitts, we should have drafted Fields. Bam, let him develop under Matt Ryan and handed the keys to him, along with Algiers. And now we got a formidable running game, a formidable quarterback, and could have built a defense around that. And we may be in a different position right now. But now we're sitting where we are. And man, we still questionable at quarterback, still questionable on the offensive line. And all this stuff could have been addressed 5 years ago. And that's what frustrates a lot of Atlanta Falcon fans. And again, are we smart? Are we actually smarter than the guys that get paid millions of dollars to do this every season, or not? That's the $1 million question to me. And if I am, then hey, Mr. Blank, I salute you. Very, very inspired by what you've done business-wise.
Right.
Hey, Mr. Simmons and I will come up to Flowery Branch and do some consulting with you.
A nominal fee. And we won't charge you much. A nominal fee.
Absolutely, for a fee. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And last but not least, let's go to one last alternative universe. A lot of people were thinking, and I had actually had a chance to ask the young man this question, and he seemed very excited about this. If you can remember, it was about that same time that the college football awards gave an award to the top offensive lineman for college. A young man out of Oregon by the name of Penei Sewell, who has all the talk about generational play from Mr. Kyle Pitts and about being a unicorn. Penei Sewell has been a Pro Bowler.
A Pro Bowler, absolutely.
Multiple times in his short career, and he has now become the anchor to a Detroit Lions team that is an odds-on favorite to go to the Super Bowl. So again, if we go to another alternate universe, imagine a Matt Ryan who's not that mobile, where you now have an offense that is anchored by two young all-pros on either side, because the Falcons do have an all-pro lineman.
Matthews.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
But they also, in that same draft, they drafted McGarry. They did, in fact, get their man. The first time the Falcons have actually drafted a really good offensive lineman since Jake Matthews. So now you have a situation where you have a veteran Matthews. You have an outstanding offensive tackle on one side in terms of Chris. What am I? The last name here, Chris. Hi, this drives me bananas when my mind goes.
Oh, you're talking about the offensive lineman we drafted?
Yes, sir.
From Boston College.
Right. Yeah. So
he's a guard, though, right? He's a guard, though, I believe.
Yeah. Like so, my mind is just drawing complete blanks. This is terrible. This what happens when it's not even age thing. It's just too many things scrolling around in the head. But anyway,
pull up that Falcons roster right quick.
I'm looking.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking now. My mind is still like, where is he at? I can't find him. Chris. Lord Jesus.
It's
Lord,
with S. His last name with an S.
Lindstrom, Chris Lindstrom, right? Lindstrom,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
he's from Boston College. Yeah, Boston College.
So you had an interior line that would have been stout. You would have had him on one side, Penei Sewell on the other side, and Jake Matthews as a veteran anchor for both those guys. So just imagine how that team would have been. Anyway, all those alternate universes are not in effect. We got what we got.
None of them, man.
And so the question is, are you going to be able to get out of, and of course, people point out the fact that, yes, the guy's coming off an injury. He's rusty, number one. Number two, traditionally, Kirk has not played that well in his career in the first couple of months of the season. I was saying the first month of the season. They said September is not really Kirk time. So saying all of that, the Falcons' schedule does not lend itself to many more miscues. As a matter of fact, they're really already, sadly, after one game, looking at the schedule. Just looking at the schedule, still got to play the games.
Right.
In some trouble because they are playing a team that just 2 years ago went to Super Bowl and could have won it in the Eagles. And then right after that, they have the not one but two-time defending Super Bowl champion in the Chiefs. And oh, by the way, the New Orleans Saints, a lot of people thought, oh, they're not that good. They look, I guess it was Carolina, but they look pretty good to me. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the Falcons are in an already must-win situation. They need to go down in Philadelphia and take care of business, and we hope and pray they'll be able to do that. Well, I've been saying we got to go, but for real, we got to go. All right, guys, you know how we do this. Before we let you go, we want to make sure you know how to find out more about our co-host and guest. So, Mr. Barry Brown, you know how to do it. Mr. Barry Brown, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Minister Simmons. Well, yes, it's been an honor to be here on Real Talk Sports Update Show this morning. I am Barry Brown, author of the Amazon bestseller, The Student Athlete Playbook, Success in the Classroom, Sports, and Life. And we take seriously the opportunity to interact and help our young people grow into the amazing adults they are destined to be. Our nonprofit organization is called Youth Education in Sports, and we are here to serve our community, serve our young people, and help our parents, coaches, and educators continue to do the good work with our young people. So thank you, Minister Simmons, for having me on. And definitely go to Amazon. You can pick up the Student Athlete Playbook, or you can visit us online at youtheducationandsports.org.
And also, you can see there, guys, underneath, you can follow them on social media on their Facebook page, facebook.com/student-athlete-playbook.com. Barry Brown, we appreciate you, sir, and we look forward to having you back on real soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Had a great
Barry
time
Brown
as
in the
always.
building. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. You know how we do it. We always remind you that I am a real life minister, as you heard earlier. So my big encouragement to you is if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, please, man, please, sir, get it on today. Nobody loves you like Jesus. Not your mom, not your auntie, not your bae, not boo, not your BFF. He's the one that died for you. But the good news is he rose from the dead. And when he did, he had two wonderful things to offer to you if you repent of your sins and believe in him. Number one, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number two, you can become an adoptive child of God with all the rights therein. That means you now can go to God like a heavenly parent, ask him for anything you need or desire, and according to his will, he'll give it to you. And when you die, go to that happy place called heaven, where there's none of the following: no pain, no pandemic, no bad people. You never get old, you never get sick, you never die. And you now get to see mighty Jehovah God and his son, Yahashua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, face to face. And you avoid that nasty place called hell, where all the things I just mentioned in heaven won't be in hell. So it's dark, it's dreary, it's fiery. You're stuck with the devil and all his demonic hosts and the most evil people ever on the earth. I don't know about you. I like option number one instead of option number two. All right, guys, until the next time we get back together again, you know how we do it. We simply say, God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, whichever may apply. So long and take care.